Welcome to our Facebook viewers. Thank you for joining us for this webinar titled An Outside the Box Perspective of Slovenian Cooking with Philip Matias from Restaurant Cobb in Porto Roche on the Mediterranean coast. For many years, Philip has been a valuable member of Slovenia's junior culinary team and won several culinary World Cup and Olympic medals. On the 2017 edition of the European Young Chef Awards held in IGCAT in Barcelona, Philip was awarded third place and became the ambassador of Slovenia, European Region of Gastronomy 2021. Unfortunately, we were to be joined by Jörg Zupan today from Restaurant Italia, but he is unable to join us. He is currently working very hard as part of Restaurant Week, and this, together with a flurry of activity, his Michelin star win, unfortunately means that we're unable to catch him. However, we will be adding a fifth webinar with the Michelin star winners in July. As many of you may know, it's been a really special week for Slovenia's culinary scene, and we're delighted that you're here to celebrate this historic week with us. Along with Slovenia being named the European Region of Gastronomy for 2021, Tuesday saw the unveiling of the first ever Michelin guides to Slovenia, placing it amongst the world's top culinary countries. There were a total of 7 stars given out to 6 special restaurants. There were also a number of other awards handed out, including 6 Slovenian chefs and restaurants gaining the Michelin Sustainability Award, highlighting the industry role models of sustainable gastronomy. Also, the Michelin story continues with Philip, who we're joined by today, who joined his family business. He worked in the UK at a 3-star Michelin star restaurant, The Fat Duck. So firstly, we'll introduce you to Slovenian gastronomy before handing you over to Philip, who will tell us about his restaurant and why he's won various awards over the years and what he's done to take Slovenian cuisine to the next level. Viewers on Facebook Live, please feel free to ask any questions you have in the comments section, and please share using the hashtags #IFeelSlovenia and Taste Slovenia on social media. The more comments you ask, the more questions and conversations we can have. So not only is Chef Philip one of Slovenia's most exciting young talents, he's also working in one of the country's best cities for food lovers. Porto Roche, perched on the Mediterranean coast, boasts of a Slovenian-Italian fusion with Venetian influences. So over to Philip we go, who's in the Mediterranean, who's now going to show us his restaurant.
So hello.
How are you?
Hi. Great. We're having sun. How about you?
It's a bit rainy in the UK, but it's making everything nice and green, just like Slovenia.
So you must come to Porto Roche.
We're waiting for your invitation. Yeah. So would you like to tour of talk a little bit about your restaurant? And we see you've got a herb garden and an incredible view. Let's hear a little bit about that.
We can talk about. I maybe want to start with the story, how all the things started, if I can. Like, I'm the 5th generation in the restaurant business in my family. So later on, I can show you also the family board that we have in the restaurant with all the signs and handprints that we can go and see now. So I can introduce a little bit. So here we have 3 generations of our restaurant. We have my grandmother, my father and mother, and me and my brother that started this restaurant, Cobb. It's called Cobb. The name said it's cooking outside the box, because we wanted to do things a little bit different, to present the guests a little bit more than just food, but we'll talk about that a bit in the future. So in the first, like every kid, wanted to be, when you're a kid, you want to be with your parents and everything, but my parents were very occupied with restaurant business. So I got some bad experience with it, and I didn't want to spend all my life in the restaurants. But then in the midst of the high school, there was a league of kitchen employees, and my father asked me to just come and help me and help him for just 2 months, and then I can go back to school and everything will be okay. So I said, yes, they're my parents, I will help them. And so that 2 months become 2 years, and I suddenly fell in love with kitchen and all the things that are included in it. Then suddenly I had the pleasure to become a member of national Slovenia national uh, ju-
Junior.
junior team, culinary team, and that is when my eye started to open a little bit. I started to see the restaurant business a little bit different. Then you can put yourself in it, and that is when it clinched me, and I knew what I want to do in my life. That I want to do, that I want to have a restaurant in a different manner. And so the cup became. It's how I said. It's cooking outside the box. The name said that it's not just food, it's everything around it. It's the plates, the interior, the garden, the local, um, the all the local landmarks and everything. So
And
also
what are the landmarks we can see just quick?
sorry?
What are the landmarks that we can see? What were the sea view, the bay? What?
So from here we can see the salt pans are over there. Historically for Israel, there were very, I can say, very important, because a lot of people and a lot of families depended on salt and on working on the salt pan. So because of that, and later on, I will show you also our work version of salt pans, like on the plate. So now we can go also to the garden. I can present you a little bit of the Mediterranean herbs and what are we going to use today, if you're okay. So I can begin with Istria in basics. So Istria is very good because it has like a lot of seafood and fishes, and also a lot of meat. And also there's a lot of vegetables and fruits that it's important for us, because you don't need to import anything. You have it here. A lot of herbs, Mediterranean herbs. And on the other side, like Istria in basic, we are rich on cultural side. We have a lot of stories, a lot of cultural heritage, a lot of landmarks that we can show. So for the chef, is good that because he can be creative, because he has all the things that he needs to for create interesting dish, I could say.
What kind of fruits and vegetables grow in the Asteria region?
So in vegetables, there are like a lot of zucchinis, a lot of I don't know, tomatoes. Then um, with the English language, it's just let me think about the corn. Here's a lot of corn also, and it's also important for Istria. Then like fruit, we have everything. We have cherries, we have apples, we have pears, plums, the figs. Very important also, like is the olive oil. here we have also one plate dedicated to our Istrian olive oils and olives that grow everywhere in Istria. And that would be like in general all.
And is your region the only olive growing region in Slovenia?
Like basically it is. Like there's a lot of families that that have its own olive like olive plants and olive oil, and they depend on their produce of the olive oil. So we are quite important. No, here is quite important, the olive oil and the olives in Istria. Yeah. So if we can move on, I could explain a little bit the herbs that we're going to use today. I'm going to present the plate that present our landmark, our salt pans, and the herbs that grow in the near. So first of all, we have like a type of salicornia. It's a herb that it's full of water and salt. Is because of the water that of the um, of the place when it grows, because it's on the edge of the salt pans. Then we have a type of rosemary, because rosemary there we have on the back. We can see it's basically the normal rosemary that it's grow everywhere in the Mediterranean. But here we have a rosemary that it tastes different. It tastes like a little bit oily taste, like on the olives, and it has aroma of like lavender. Then we have a lot of wild oregano that we're gonna use. And another thing we have here, if we go to the end, now it's starting. Um, this is like it's type of salicornia also. It's I think they called it in English is halophine, and it's also interesting because it's full of water, but it's not so salty. It's more I don't know how to say. It's more powerful in the mouth. So these are the plants that we're gonna use today. And the other ones are like typical for all the Mediterranean places. So are a little bit of flowers and everything. Maybe chamomile we use a lot. Then these are some like are sour, very soury. Then we got thyme. Then we got the it's tarragon, I think. And in basic, that would be all. A little bit of basil there. That will be all.
And how seasonal are the other herbs? Are there
now,
many?
Now they're starting. We don't have that strong winter, so a lot of them go through the winter. But some of them, like the ones they have the water in it, they die, and then we must get the new ones. But now is the perfect season when they start. So you see also the ones I showed you in the end, they are starting now. Till now they were like dead. And nothing very much here.
It's a very good herb garden.
It's a small garden, but also I can talk to you about the future of COP is based on the garden, because now this year we were awarded with a green key. It's a environmental like certificate that we are like a restaurant, are like natural friendly and substantial. And in this step, if we go step further in the next years, we want to do like a Mediterranean garden with all the herbs, the fruits, the vegetables. It would be a lot bigger, so the guests could have the experience there. Then we can take the guests there, and they would have like dinner in the garden, so they can pick their own vegetables and fruit, and then cook it with us together and like have an experience with us.
Lovely. So, and with regards to the interior of the restaurant, what's been the idea behind the interior of the restaurant? What's the inside?
Okay, so we can go inside. I can show you a little bit. So this is our garden that we saw. This is our terrace, and the outside terrace that it's now closed, but we can open it all the way, and also the top. This is for the summer. And then if we go inside, we have like more, we want it to be like the guests feel like at home. Also, it's true that this restaurant, 2 years ago, it was our home. All the family lived here. So where the kitchen is, there was my room and my brother's room. So basically, I'm sleeping here like I was sleeping there then. Then I don't know. Here we have the like also for this for the winter when the garden doesn't work, we have like a hydro planting. We have all the plants in here to show you a little bit, because yeah, we base on nature and everything. We have the plant here. They have the lights, the ventilation, and the temperature, and the water in the bottom. So
and
that
plants. What kind of plants are you growing in there?
the similar like outside, because some of them needs a lot of water in winter time and don't like the cold weather. So we take them out from there and put it in here so they can grow till the next summer. So now it's clean. Now we cleaned it because the summer it started and we put them out.
Excellent. So should we go on to your dishes then? And
yes, I can also tell you a little bit of our restaurant. Basically, how we wanted the guests to see us. It's that we wanted to be a little bit different, to not be just food, but to have an experience, that it's not just the plate, that it's whole story, that the guest can relate with Istria, with the culture, with the type of life we are living here, with like we said, landmarks. So I will show you 3 things today and the menu, but all the plates have its own story and its own like flip, like twist. So we can start. I can show you the menu and we can then go on. this we'll have for later. So this is our menu, and it represents the journey. So it's just basically the piece of paper, but then later, with time, it started to reveal the menu. We will see with time, or if we do it a little bit quicker, I will ruin it, but now I will show you. So it's like this. It's like, to do it a little bit, it reveals with time, yeah? So the people can, with time, how they go course by course, it reveals. But now I want to just to show you how it works. Okay, so we start here in COP with typical way of starting when you go to the restaurant. What do you do when you go to the restaurant? Men and women, what do you do? Do you know? You certainly know, but if you will answer it right. So we need to do our makeup and our beard, yeah? So this is the first thing that comes to the table. So that is the way we want to be interactive. Basically, we have like a starter, like everywhere in the restaurants, we have butter, and we have like every morning we used to, here in Slovenia, typically we eat butter and jam. So we have carrot jam and normal butter. Here is for the man like a shaving cream, and for the woman like a face cream. Then we have like a little bit of powder that is made out of the carrots, and women have it like this, yeah. So they can mix all together and have like a piece of bread with butter and jam, and on the end we have a truffle perfume that we spray on top. So we have like butter with truffles and carrot. That is the one dish. The second dish I want to present are the salt pans. Later I will show you how we do the bread. Just like simple bread that you need 30 minutes to do. You can do it at home. I will show you the recipe and all the stuff. And now we will show you how it's made. Like the wood that we use for the miniature salt pans are used from the wood that were used for when they renovated the salt pans. So they gave us the wood and we did like a small salt pan. Here we have some holes where we put our herbs, like we picked them earlier. So it's like this. It's like this. Then on the bottom, there is our salt. And in the middle, we then have the pate made out of the rabbit. Why the rabbit? Because here in the salt pan, a lot of time in the morning when all the things are calm, because there is a lot of herbs, there's a lot of rabbits that come and eat the herbs. And that rabbits are also very tasteful and have a different taste because of the herbs they're eating, and are a little bit more saltier. Then some of the pools are like empty, they don't use them anymore, and has the fango on top of it. And when the sun comes, now in the summer, it becomes like this. like this represent the fungo, the dried fungo on top. We have a walnut cracker. And then on top, we put a little bit of dust, a little bit of olive oil in the dust that represent our salt. And all this together, we use the like salt panel rack that they use like for collecting the salt, so the guests can feel how they collected the salt if they want. And also the pate is in pyramid shape. Why in pyramid shape? Because when they collect salt, they always do it in the pyramid shape, so that's why. And the typical bread is bread, simple bread, that the workers in the salt pan used to do it there because of its simplicity. Yeah. And also here, I want to present our local wine, Porto Roche. In translation means like city of roses, Porto Rose. So we have Porto Rose wine made by the Mahnic family. And why it's so important is because it's made out of Cipra. It's the type of grape that is typical for our environment. And it's typically made for sweet wines, but this is semi-sweet. We didn't want to use the sweet wine for this course. And why Porto Rose? Because we can smell in the wine, we can smell a little bit of rose aromas. So that's why. And then in the end, what I want to show you, just a glimpse. I don't want to show you too much because it's I don't want to ruin the wow factor when you come to us and visit us. But at the end, what do we do? The other than brush our teeth, the hygiene is very important, like the start, so the end. So we made out of the fruit, the seasonal fruit, we made the toothpaste. Then we have a toothbrush that every guest gets, and he can take it with him. They're ecological, so we have a toothbrush that they can brush their teeth, and at the end we have a splash of mint mouthwash, house-made. So it's like hygiene, very important, and everything. So that would be all for this part.
And you also make truffle perfume. Could you tell us a little bit about the truffle?
Yes, I can tell you all about how we do stuff, maybe the techniques that we use. And if we start with truffle perfume, it's basically just the aroma, because we mix truffles, water, and alcohol, and a little bit of our local gin. It's called Bryn gin, and we mix it together, and we have a rotary evaporator which heats it under the vacuum, and then all the aromas go out, and then when it goes to the part when it starts to condense, and then we have like a small glass bowl where all the aromas come down, and that is how we make the truffle perfume. Then the carrot dust, we wanted to preserve all the flavors. So to do that, we cannot dry it, because we tried it also to drying it, but it's too hard. Then we tried, because we have the vacuum oven, and we tried to do that because under the vacuum, it's good because the fruit or vegetables or meat doesn't get oxidated, but it didn't went very well, so we dry freeze it. We have a dry freezer where we dry freeze all the vegetables and all the ingredients to dry it and still has it own taste and own aromas. Then we have also have the centrifuge. What do we use centrifuge for? I will go and grab one sample so I can explain a little bit. So we have luck today because we're closed and we have a preparation day, so I can show you everything because everything is making today. So this is the typical stew that we make, mixed stew, and we have one plate dedicated to that. It's called bobici. It's made out of corn and like a stew out of the beans. So we make the stew, we make like puree out of it, and then we take it, we do it in the centrifuge. So we have the liquid part, you see, I hope you see it, then the hard part, and the fat that has the flavor, the most of the flavor. So the fat we use when cooking the meat. The liquid part we use for the sauce, that we get the silky sauce and without any hard parts. And then the bottom we use for the like a bottom puree. So that is the centrifuge, and for the equipment that would be all. Like,
a quick question.
yeah.
Do you have a lab where you try new techniques and ingredients? What's the process of going through and finding the different types of ingredients that you add?
Yeah, I have I don't have a lab. All of this is the lab. We are a small team of 3 employees in the kitchen, so we do all the things together. Like all the like when the idea comes, I tell them, and then we do together all the ideas. So this is our lab. It's quite big, I could say. And in the back, I would like to show you that all the stuff that like the centrifuge, the evaporator, and so on. But I don't have internet there, so it will. I can send the picture at the end, if it would be okay.
Okay, and the other question is in terms of when we saw the back of the quick kitchen earlier, and you have an incredible setup, and so you're based on the Styrian Peninsula. Could you tell us Styrian Peninsula rather? Could you tell us a little bit more about that region and the salt influences and the history behind that, and the location of your restaurant?
Okay, so we are located a little bit up hills from Portorož. It's like 5 minutes walk, 1 minute drive. So we can see all the peninsula. From here, if you're maybe in Piran, if you know Piran better, it's historical city. It's like located 5 minutes drive from here. So we are quite in the center of touristic area. The history of Istria is very rich because it was a lot of poverty, like poor people lived here, and they had to be innovative, and they had a lot of stories. So I have a lot of materials to work on it, to work with the plates, and like also these days now, I love to go to visit the old towns a little bit in the inside of Istria, and talk about with old people their type of life, how they remember their childhood and everything. And this is how I got all the ideas for COP. This is how I got the idea what I want to present to our guests. I don't want just the guests that they come and eat. I want them to feel it, to learn about them. But basically, that's the main thing why I opened the restaurant, just to give the knowledge further more. So also the Istria, I have luck because after high school I was studying tourism, but based on the Istria and the gastronomy here. So I did a lot of research on it, and now it's easier for me to move the knowledge further down.
Would you say so? You're regarded as one of the most exciting young chefs in Slovenia, and you've already won a flurry of awards and so on. Would you say the region is your biggest inspiration?
Yeah.
Biggest...
The region, but not just the region, also the people. The people are the main thing, and all their hard work that they've done in their lives.
Are there any distinct sort of characteristics of the people where you're from?
No, they're just, I love them because they're just simple. They live a simple life. They don't want to complicate anything. So that's why I love Istria, yeah, because it's so intact, and all the people love to help each other, and for me that's more you can not get from a person.
Excellent. And what kind of vegetarian dishes do you do? Do you have any vegetarian or vegan dishes on your menu at all?
Yeah, sure. We have we have a degustation menu. Just a moment. Here is, now maybe here you can see better now. Still that went on. So every dish is like a menu. Is made of the sea and like fish dishes and meat dishes, and it's like combined the mixture of both. And but we can, if somebody don't eat fish or meat, or they are vegetarians, we also have like an alternative way of doing the menu. Or if there are some allergies, we have also the like typical recipes, vegetarian recipes, and so on.
Okay. What aspects of Slovenian food do you think are different compared to other areas in the region?
All the Slovenia people are all based on simplicity, I could say. And we are all have in common that we don't want to complicate things and have a lot of ingredients. And we are so small, but so diverse. A lot of things we can compare that are quite the same for all the Slovenia, but we have like small aspects of different things. For example, here we use a lot of olive oil. In the north, they use a lot of pumpkin oil. So that's like one of the things that you can see the difference.
Okay. And how would you say how you were based in the UK for a short time, a Michelin star restaurant and so, how would you say the food scene differs in the UK compared to Slovenia? What do you think the differences are?
Yeah, in like when I was working there, all the dishes were made with such a perfection. I know there are 3 Michelin stars and everything, and they must be perfect and must be done in the right way. And here, they're a little bit more, we have like final touches, and we don't want to be like not so perfect, but we have a simpler way of doing stuff. We want the ingredients to talk by themselves, not to I don't know, to mix it. We don't want to have a fusion cuisine like. I think that's the main point.
And what you like? You've called your restaurant Cobb to think outside the box. How do you seek your creativity, and what do you get from Slovenia itself? What do you do? What does Slovenia do to inspire you?
It's really a lifestyle that you want to present through the plates, because to give a plate that is just food on it has no soul. So for me, the most inspirational thing is that all the plates has their own story to tell, and in the background has their own people who stand behind it and who work their way hard through time, so I can present to another guest. That is the main inspiration for me. And also the things, maybe the old recipes and some things with time, they got forgotten. And I wanted to show that also the things that were not in use for so many years are great things, like great flavors and everything. And to search for the old recipe, and when you find one that it's really good, and then it went to the people forgot on it, like that's the most satisfying satisfying thing it can be.
And what's the most popular food you feel on the menu? And also, do you have any breads, popular breads as well, that you could talk about? So the most popular dish, breads.
So yeah, we have the basic bread that they used to do here in Istria, because they were hard workers and they didn't have a lot of time. So I can present you the recipe if you want. If you come on this side, I will show you just the recipe. I wrote it down so you can see. It's 225 grams of flour, basic flour. Then we have 7 grams of dry yeast, 7 grams of salt, 7 grams of sugar, 6 grams of salt, 125 grams of water, and 125 grams of yogurt. For the yogurt, its most important thing is that it's not cold, that it's not from the fridge, that it's from room temperature. So, I can show you now. For the recipe, you mix it all together, just in the simplest way you can do it. And I mixed it before because it has to be, then when it's fully mixed, we have to wrap it up and leave it for half an hour. And then at the end, in half an hour, it will become like this, fully fluffy. So to make the bread, it's a little bit, it's not so clean work because of its simplicity. It's like approximately 100% humidity, so it sticks a lot, like you see. And for this, I usually put a little bit of olive oil on my hand, or a little bit of water, tap water, so it doesn't stick so much. So we put a pan, we heat it, we put a little bit of olive oil on top, and we wait a little bit so it becomes hot. Then I will put a little bit of water on my hands. So this is a very simple way how to do your own fluffy bread at home, and everyone can do it. You just need half an hour that it waits a little bit. They usually had it on the sun, in the salt pans. They usually mix it and put it outside the houses. They went to work, and then when they came back, the bread was already rising enough. So we'll wait a little bit more. If you have any questions, now till we wait.
What's the name of the bread?
It hasn't got any name because it's like, they call it basically the salt panel bread, salty bread. Some of them call it also the mad bread, because when it's in the fridge, if you don't use it, it will just grow and go everywhere around it.
And this is unique to Asteria.
Yeah. Right, this is unique for the salt panels, yeah.
And do you feel the salts taste any different? What gives it its distinction, the Asterian salt?
Yeah, it's a lot, because it's peninsula here. Yeah, a lot of it's the water, it's saltier, and then the salt is stronger. So, for example, when I go out and work somewhere else, I have like a huge problem when I use salt, because I use it so in small quantities. So when I use it there, it's like unsalted totally. And then I said, oh yeah, I used the different salt, yeah. So it's saltier a lot.
And so you feel it's one of the best salts in the world? Or...
Yeah, so it's quite sticky if you see. It's messy thing to do, but once it's in the pan, it will be all good. So we put it in a pan. I will clean my hands.
What gives it? Why is it a little bit more stickier? Is this due to?
It's because it's like 100% of humidity, and that is why it's so sticky. And also that is why it becomes so soft. You will see in the middle it would be soft, and there will be no crunch on it. Just a little bit of because of the pan, but there's not. It's not like a typical bread. You see, the crust, it's only here, and it's fluffy, like fully fluffy.
And could you go over the ingredients one more time?
Yeah, sure. We can go. I will film it one more time. We have flour, 225 grams.
Any specific flour?
No, it's like basic flour. They didn't have like specific flour then, but you can use also sort of flours. If you use like corn flour, you can use a little bit more of water to get, because it's more dry. Then we have 7 grams of dry yeast. Then we have 7 grams of sugar and 6 grams of salt. Then we have 125 of tap water, normal room temperature water, and 125 grams of yogurt. And just basically mix it. You can mix it with a spoon or whatever you want, and just cover it so the crust doesn't on the surface doesn't form the crust, and just leave it. Or if you want to eat it in a 30 minutes, you leave it outside. If not, for later, you can put it in the fridge. It will rise slower and you will have time.
And how does it differ to a chapati or a Middle Eastern flatbread?
Like it's similar, but it's more fluffier. I think it's got a lot more water in it.
And better salt.
Yeah, yeah, and better salt. It's stronger salt. So then after I done the crust, I leave it a little bit on the hot place. So the interior got done till the end. You can put it in the oven like 50 degrees or something like that. You don't have to be like hot. And basically that would be all. It's like a simplest recipe for the simplest, fluffiest bread, I could say.
What would you say would be the best thing to accompany that with a typical lunch?
It's pate, yeah, all sort of pate.
All sorts of pate. And any unique Slovenian pates that would
the rabbit one? It's great. You must come and taste it.
Come and taste it. And then a final point on your thoughts on the Slovenian food scene a few years ago and where it's in the future. How do you feel it's changed since 5 years ago?
Like in Slovenia, in basic?
Yeah, the country's culinary scene. How has it developed over the past 5 years?
I see it went very quickly from zero to, I could say, hero. All the restaurants are very working people and have a lot of ideas, and they all like, for me, it's the main thing I like the most is that all the, like, not all, but like 70% of restaurants are based on like or family business or the classical recipes of that region, and that is what it makes it different maybe with other countries. And I think now with all of these things going on, the Michelin and the Gomio and so on, the restaurants gain quite quickly a level up their stuff, yeah, their ideas and everything.
And meze is very popular along the Mediterranean. Is there any specific meze foods or dishes, smaller dishes and so on that are distinctly Slovenian?
Yeah, we have a lot of them. Like, but every region has its own like local food, local recipe, and this is what makes the difference. Like I said before, Slovenia and other countries, because in so small place we have so diverse recipes and so diverse ways of lives and ways of like culinary perspectives and so on. So I could say like there's a lot of books that have a lot of Slovenian classical plates and recipes and all. And if you come in 2021, when Slovenia became like the region of gastronomy, you will see that every region will prepare its own like every year, but that year I think it will be the base of the tradition of Slovenia and to show the other people what Slovenia can do. Also, we in COP will do like a menu. When we change the menu in 2021, we will do like a drive through Slovenian regions and present the most important dishes of every region. So,
and when will visitors be able to experience that?
in the middle of 2021, I think.
Okay, and this is especially for
Especially
Slovenia being
for
appointed.
that year, because Slovenia will become the region of gastronomy of that year.
And with the recent launch of the first ever Michelin guide to Slovenia, along with the country being awarded the EU gastronomy region for 2021. Do you think it's a very exciting moment for Slovenian culinary?
Yeah, sure. Because a lot of attention will be focused right on Slovenia, and we have a good opportunity to show who we really are and what really we can do.
Awesome. So, one final look at the Mediterranean for all of us back in rainy UK, and we'd like to thank you so much for a brilliant cooking class and an insight to your brilliant Cobb restaurant. Very easy to get to from Ljubljana or Trieste flying in.
It's like our drive from Ljubljana and like 20 minutes drive from Trieste to get an idea.
Awesome. And you've reopened, and the restaurant is back up and running.
Yeah. We reopened it like 1 month ago, approximately. And but here we based a lot on tourism because this is a tourist place, and so we are starting slowly. But I think now when all the borders are open now, it's better. We can see just now the last week or this week we are quite happy with bookings and everything. So.
And you're taking bookings online?
Yeah, we're taking bookings online or through telephone, however they like. Like we are not open all the time, but if there's we usually work on reservations, and if anyone calls like 1 day earlier, we can open it, and no problem.
It looks like an absolutely brilliant restaurant, and I'm sure as Brits, as soon as we're able to get out there, we'll be visiting along with the rest of the world as well. But thank you so much, Philip, for your time today and showing the brilliant restaurant and the beautiful Mediterranean scenery. And we look forward to catching up with you in the future. Thanks for your time, and thanks for everyone for joining us today. And we will be doing a 5th webinar in the upcoming weeks to celebrate Slovenia's first ever Michelin star guide with the restaurants that are listed in the book as well. Thank you, Philip. Enjoy the afternoon, and yeah.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for inviting me.